My beloved child, listen closely now, because this moment is not random and this message is not accidental. As the new year is still unfolding, Archangel Michael steps forward with his sword of clarity, pointing directly at an intention that has already begun to take shape in your life. You may not fully see it yet, but something has shifted. January 3rd is not just another day on the calendar. It is a spiritual marker. What you hear today has the power to influence the months ahead, and that is why you were guided here. Open your heart. Quiet your mind. This is not a message to rush through. Beloved, many believe that intentions are formed loudly, through dramatic decisions or bold declarations. But what Archangel Michael is revealing right now is far more subtle and far more powerful. The intention shaping your year was planted quietly, almost unnoticed. It was formed through a thought you had recently, a choice you almost dismissed, or a feeling you could not explain. Heaven noticed it, even if you did not. And now, this intention is beginning to gather momentum. Hear this clearly. Not every intention comes from fear, and not every intention comes from faith. Some intentions are formed at the crossroads between the two. Archangel Michael says you were standing at such a crossroads as this year began. You were tired of carrying something old, yet unsure how to step fully into the new. In that tension, an intention was born. He is already alive. It is already listening to your words, your habits, and your expectations. Beloved child, this is why today matters. January 3rd carries a unique weight because it is early enough to redirect, but late enough that the spiritual ink has begun to dry. Archangel Michael is not coming to warn you in fear, but to sharpen your awareness. What you repeatedly speak in these early days is instructing the path ahead. What you repeatedly tolerate is quietly agreeing with outcomes you may not want later. There is something specific Archangel Michael wants you to notice. He says there has been a pattern from last year that attempted to follow you into this one. It did not come loudly. It came disguised as normal. A familiar emotion. A familiar delay. A familiar doubt. You may have already felt it whisper, "This is just how things are." But hear me. That whisper is not your destiny. It is simply an echo. And echoes only survive if you keep speaking into the same cave. Archangel Michael now lifts his sword, not to fight you, but to cut through confusion. He says the intention forming now will either become a foundation or a filter. A foundation will support growth, alignment, and unexpected strength. A filter will limit what you believe is possible, blocking blessings you were meant to receive. The difference between the two is awareness. That is why you are listening right now. Beloved, do not underestimate small internal agreements. When you say, "I guess this is all I can expect," you are shaping months ahead. When you say, "I will deal with this later," you are giving time permission to drift. But when you say, even quietly, "This year will not look like the last," heaven leans in. Archangel Michael confirms this. Angels respond more quickly to intention than to desperation. Something else is being revealed. There is a window opening, not a door you must force, but a window that requires attention. Opportunities this year will not always announce themselves clearly. Some will look ordinary at first. Some will require you to respond before you feel fully ready. Archangel Michael says this intention forming now will determine whether you recognize those moments or overlook them. My beloved child, you may be wondering why this message feels urgent yet calm. That is intentional. Urgency driven by fear creates pressure. Urgency guided by truth creates focus. Archangel Michael brings focus. He says the months ahead are sensitive to direction, like fresh clay. What you gently press into them now will hold its shape longer than you realize. This is also a moment of protection. Archangel Michael stands guard over transitions, and a new year is one of the most vulnerable transitions of all. Old cycles try to reattach. Old narratives try to renegotiate their place. But hear this promise. You are not required to carry what you have already outgrown. Awareness breaks contracts you never knowingly signed. Let this sink in. The intention taking shape is not just about what you want. It is about who you are becoming. And who you are becoming will determine what you can sustain when blessings arrive. Archangel Michael says it is not delay you experienced before. It was preparation. But preparation must now turn into alignment. So pause with me for a moment. Breathe. Ask yourself, not with judgment, but with honesty, what expectation have you quietly accepted about this year? That answer matters more than resolutions, goals, or plans. Because expectations are the seeds intentions grow from. Beloved, this message did not reach you too early or too late. It reached you precisely on time. The months ahead are listening. Heaven is attentive. Archangel Michael is near. What you hear today can influence what unfolds next, but only if you remain aware. Beloved soul, as this message continues to unfold, Archangel Michael asks you to lean in a little closer, not with fear, but with curiosity. Because now, he begins to reveal what this forming intention is already attracting toward you. You see, intentions are like spiritual magnets. They do not wait for permission. They respond instantly. And what you set in motion at the start of this year has already sent a signal into the unseen. Archangel Michael says something is aligning behind the scenes that may not yet be visible, but it is already active. Conversations are being arranged. Delays are being repositioned. Even moments that once felt like setbacks are being reassigned a new role. This is why the days ahead may feel unusually full, not necessarily busy, but significant. Small moments will carry weight. Casual words will echo longer than expected. Pay attention. Here is a reason you may feel slightly restless lately. Not anxious, not afraid, but aware. That awareness is the sign of spiritual adjustment. Archangel Michael explains that when an intention begins to mature, your spirit senses movement before your circumstances change. That restlessness is not a warning. It is an invitation to stay conscious rather than drifting on autopilot. Hear this carefully. What you are attracting is not only based on what you desire, but on what you believe you are worthy of sustaining. This year, Archangel Michael is not just helping you receive more. He's helping you hold more without losing yourself. That is why patience will be required in moments where you want instant confirmation. Some things must align internally before they appear externally. Beloved, there is also a refining happening. Certain distractions that once held your attention may suddenly lose their appeal. People who thrived on your confusion may feel distant. Old habits may feel uncomfortable. This is not loss. It is alignment. Archangel Michael says, when an intention is true, it simplifies your path, even if it initially feels unfamiliar. You may notice that your tolerance for certain situations is changing. What you once accepted without question may now stir discomfort. That discomfort is guidance. It is your inner signal saying, this no longer matches who you are becoming. Archangel Michael urges you not to ignore this signal. Ignored guidance becomes repeated lessons. Now listen closely, because this is important. The intention forming now is beginning to attract a test, not a punishment, but a confirmation. A moment will come where you are asked to choose between what feels easy and what feels aligned. The choice may look small on the surface, but it will carry long-term consequences. Choose alignment, even if it costs you comfort in the moment. Beloved soul, this is also where your participation matters. Messages like this do not work by passive listening alone. They activate through engagement, through intention meeting action. If this message is speaking to you, do not keep it to yourself. Like this message as a signal that you are aware. Share it so others who are standing at their own crossroads can receive clarity. Leave a comment, not for algorithms alone, but as a declaration that you are present and receptive. And if you have not yet subscribed, do so as a way of staying connected to messages meant to guide you through this season. Joining this space is not just support, it is alignment. Archangel Michael also reminds you that community strengthens intention. When truth is spoken collectively, it carries greater momentum. That is why engaging here matters more than you think. You are not just watching, you are participating in something unfolding. There is another layer to this message. The intention shaping your year will influence how you respond to pressure. Pressure will come, not to break you, but to reveal where your foundation is strongest. Archangel Michael says, do not fear moments of intensity. Diamonds are formed under pressure, and clarity is often born there too. You may soon notice a moment where silence feels louder than noise. In that stillness, guidance will arrive, not as a booming voice, but as a calm knowing. Trust that knowing. It will not shout. It will not argue. It will simply feel true. That is how you will recognize it. Beloved, some of you are wondering if you are truly ready for what you are calling in. Archangel Michael answers gently, readiness is not perfection. Readiness is willingness. Willingness to learn. Willingness to adjust. Willingness to release what no longer fits. If you are willing, heaven will handle the rest. As this part comes to a close, stay with me. The next revelation connects directly to how your words in the coming days will either accelerate or delay what is trying to reach you. Hold on. You will want to hear what is revealed next, because it may change how you speak over your life starting today. My precious one, Archangel Michael now draws your attention to the power that is shaping everything silently, your words. Not the loud ones spoken in confidence, but the quiet ones whispered in private moments. The phrases you repeat when no one is listening. The inner dialogue that plays when plans slow down or answers feel delayed. These words are not harmless. They are instructions. And in this early stage of the year, they carry unusual authority. Archangel Michael reveals that words spoken during transitional seasons echo longer than usual. January is such a season. What you affirm now does not simply pass through the air, it settles into structure. This is why some of you may feel a gentle check in your spirit before speaking lately. That pause is protection. Heaven is teaching you restraint, not to silence you, but to align you. Beloved, there is a difference between speaking honestly and speaking carelessly. Archangel Michael says many have unknowingly canceled progress by rehearsing disappointment out loud. Saying, "Nothing ever changes for me," may feel like honesty, but it trains your spirit to expect limitation. Heaven responds to expectation faster than emotion. This is not punishment. This is order. Hear this clearly. You do not need perfect words, but you do need intentional ones. When uncertainty rises, speak direction. When fear attempts to settle, speak identity. When waiting feels heavy, speak trust. Even a simple phrase like, "I am being guided," carries more weight than you realize right now. There is something else being exposed. Archangel Michael says some of you have been speaking blessings over others while withholding them from yourselves. You encourage, uplift, and pray for everyone else, yet your self-talk is harsh and restrictive. This imbalance weakens your ability to receive. Today, that pattern is being corrected. Beloved soul, the months ahead will test whether your words agree with your prayers. If you pray for peace but speak chaos, confusion will linger. If you pray for clarity but speak doubt, direction will feel delayed. Alignment begins with agreement. Let your mouth agree with what you are asking heaven to release. Archangel Michael now shares a promise. He says that when your words and intentions align, acceleration follows naturally. Not forced, not stressful, not overwhelming, but steady and undeniable. This year is not meant to exhaust you. It is meant to establish you. You may notice people responding to you differently soon. Conversations may shift. Opportunities may come through unexpected channels. This is not coincidence. It is resonance. What you speak shakes what recognizes you. Beloved, this message is also an invitation to pause before reacting. Not every moment requires commentary. Silence, when guided, can be powerful. Archangel Michael says discernment will increase when you stop filling space with unnecessary explanations. You do not owe everyone access to your process. Now receive this gently. There will be moments where you are tempted to return to old language, complaint, comparison, self-judgment. When that happens, do not condemn yourself. Simply redirect. Correction is more powerful than criticism. Heaven responds to adjustment instantly. This is a sacred threshold. The intention forming is listening. Your future is attentive. And Archangel Michael stands watch, ready to defend what you choose to build. Type "I align my words" in the comments if this message is speaking to your spirit. Blessing code 303 has just been released. This work, these messages, are not just words on a screen. They are seeds. Seeds of clarity, protection, and awakening being scattered across lives that may never hear truth any other way. I am speaking directly to you now, because you are part of this assignment. Scripture says that when a seed is sown in good soil, it multiplies beyond what was planted. When you support this mission, you are not supporting a channel. You are opening rivers for souls who are thirsty for direction. As this new year unfolds and intentions take shape, your act of giving becomes a prophetic response. It is oil poured into a lamp that keeps burning through the night. Heaven sees it. Heaven records it. And Archangel Michael himself stands in agreement with those who strengthen the flow of truth. Support now through Super Thanks, by joining the membership, or through PayPal. The link is waiting for you in the description. Do it as obedience, not hesitation. I release a blessing over every giver, that what you sow in faith returns to you in protection, clarity, and divine acceleration. Step forward and activate it now. Beloved child, Archangel Michael now shifts the focus from what you speak to what you allow to remain around you. Because intentions do not grow in isolation. They grow in environments. And the environment you tolerate will either nourish what heaven is forming, or slowly weaken it. This is not about perfection. This is about discernment. You may have sensed recently that certain spaces feel heavier than they used to. Certain conversations drain you more quickly. Certain routines no longer bring peace, even though they once felt familiar. Archangel Michael says this is not coincidence. Your spirit is maturing faster than your surroundings. And when growth happens, friction appears, not to punish you, but to signal that adjustment is required. Hear this gently. Not everyone who was meant to walk with you last year is equipped to walk with you this year. This does not make them wrong, and it does not make you arrogant. It simply means seasons change. Archangel Michael warns that staying out of loyalty to discomfort can quietly sabotage alignment. Discernment is not rejection. It is wisdom. Beloved, there is a subtle test happening right now. You are being asked whether you will protect your peace or explain it away. Whether you will honor your intuition or override it to keep things familiar. Archangel Michael says every time you ignore a clear inner nudge, you delay clarity. But every time you honor it, confidence grows. There may be moments ahead where you feel prompted to step back rather than step in, to observe rather than engage, to listen rather than respond. This restraint is not weakness. It is strength under discipline. Archangel Michael is teaching you how to conserve spiritual energy so it can be released at the right moment. Something important is being revealed now. The intention forming at the beginning of this year is sensitive, not fragile, but responsive. It reacts to emotional climates. If you constantly expose it to negativity, doubt, or chaos, it will slow. But if you place it in peace, honesty, and expectation, it will strengthen quickly. Beloved soul, some of you have been trying to grow while constantly revisiting old emotional rooms, replaying conversations, rehearsing disappointments, revisiting regrets. Archangel Michael says these rooms are no longer yours. You learn what you needed there. Staying longer does not bring new insight. It only delays movement. This year will require boundaries that feel unfamiliar at first. Saying no without guilt. Stepping away without explanation. Choosing rest without apology. These are not selfish acts. They are acts of stewardship. You are stewarding what heaven has entrusted to you. Archangel Michael now speaks directly to those who feel torn between who they were and who they are becoming. He says the tension you feel is not confusion, it is transition. Transition often feels uncomfortable because identity is shifting. Do not rush to label this discomfort as something wrong. It is a sign that growth is active. Beloved, there is also a call to simplify. Too many voices dilute direction. Too many opinions blur clarity. Archangel Michael advises you to become selective about what you consume, what you listen to, what you watch, what you entertain mentally. This is not restriction. This is refinement. You may notice that when you spend time in quiet reflection, answers surface more easily. That is because your spirit recognizes truth faster than your mind does. Give it space. Give it silence. Guidance thrives there. There is another warning, delivered in love. Archangel Michael says be careful not to confuse urgency with alignment. Just because something moves quickly does not mean it is divinely timed. Peace is a better indicator than speed. What is meant for you will not require you to abandon wisdom to obtain it. Beloved child, the months ahead will bring invitations. Some will look appealing but feel off. Others will feel stretching but right. Learn to trust the feeling beneath the appearance. Archangel Michael says alignment often feels calm, even when it requires courage. As this message settles, let yourself reflect. Ask quietly, what environment am I creating for what I am asking for? The answer will guide your next adjustment. Stay present. What is coming next reveals how timing, not effort, will unlock what you have been waiting for, and why patience will become your greatest advantage. Beloved one, Archangel Michael now turns your attention to something many overlook: timing. Not the kind measured by clocks or calendars, but the kind that moves quietly beneath the surface of your life. You may have wondered why certain things you prayed for did not arrive when you expected, even though your faith felt sincere. This is where understanding deepens. Timing is not denial. It is alignment catching up with intention. Archangel Michael reveals that this year, more than before, timing will matter as much as action. There will be moments when doing less produces more, and moments when waiting is the most powerful step you can take. This may feel unfamiliar, especially if you are used to equating progress with constant effort. But hear this clearly: heaven moves strategically, not frantically. Beloved, some of you have been pressing doors that were never meant to open in this season. Not because they are wrong forever, but because opening them too early would require you to carry weight you are not yet positioned to sustain. Archangel Michael says mercy often looks like delay, even though it feels like frustration. There is something sacred about restraint. When you pause instead of pushing, you allow unseen alignments to complete their work. Conversations shift. Circumstances reposition. Hearts soften. These movements happen without your effort, but only if you do not interfere by forcing outcomes prematurely. Archangel Michael now speaks comfort to those who feel behind. He says you are not late. You are being synchronized. Heaven is coordinating details you cannot see yet. If you arrived too early, you would question yourself. If you arrived too late, you would miss the moment. Perfect timing produces confidence without arrogance. You may soon notice that opportunities appear suddenly, without long build-up. This is how divine timing works. What seems delayed arrives quickly once alignment is complete. This is why patience now will save you confusion later. Beloved soul, timing also affects relationships. Some connections will deepen naturally without effort. Others will fade without conflict. Do not chase what is drifting. Do not resist what is drawing closer. Archangel Michael says alignment reveals itself through ease, not strain. There is a lesson here. When something is meant for you, it cooperates. When it is not, it resists. Learn to read resistance as information, not rejection. This perspective will protect your peace this year. Archangel Michael also warns against comparing your timeline to others. Comparison distorts timing. What is right for someone else may be wrong for you, even if it looks successful from the outside. Your path is custom. Your pace is intentional. Beloved, there will be moments ahead when you feel an inner nudge to act. And when that nudge comes, do not hesitate. Discernment teaches you when to wait and when to move. The same spirit that teaches patience also activates courage. Learn to recognize both. This year, your sensitivity to timing will sharpen. You will begin to feel when a moment is right, when words need to be spoken, when silence is required, when action is necessary. This is maturity. Archangel Michael says this sensitivity is a gift. There is also healing happening around your relationship with waiting. Past disappointments may have taught you to equate waiting with loss. That lie is being undone. Waiting is not empty. It is preparation filled with purpose. Beloved child, do not rush this season. Intention, forming at the beginning of the year, is still shaping its structure. Foundations take time because they are meant to last. What you are building now is not temporary. It is sustainable. As this part draws to a close, rest in this truth. You are not missing out. You are being positioned. Timing is working for you, not against you. Stay with this message. What comes next will reveal how unseen protection has been operating in your life, and why certain things did not reach you for your own good. Beloved child, Archangel Michael now reveals the unseen shield that has been active around you, even when you felt exposed. There were moments you thought you were overlooked, moments you believed nothing was happening, moments where silence felt like absence. But hear this truth clearly now. Protection does not always announce itself. Often, it works best when you never see what was stopped. There are paths you always took that would have drained you. Conversations you were close to having that would have altered your confidence. Decisions you considered making that would have delayed your peace. Archangel Michael says these were not coincidences that faded away. They were intercepted, redirected, removed quietly, without fear, without drama. This is why some doors close without explanation. That was not loss. That was guardianship. Beloved, this year will slowly reveal why certain things never work out before. You may suddenly gain clarity about past disappointments and realize how much they protected your future. What once felt like rejection will be reframed as mercy. Archangel Michael says understanding often arrives after safety is secured. You are entering a season where discernment will increase sharply. You will sense motives more clearly. You will feel when something is off, even if it looks right on the surface. Trust this sense. It is not suspicion. It is spiritual awareness refining itself. There's also something important to understand about protection. It does not mean nothing challenging will happen. It means nothing unnecessary will prevail. You will still grow. You will still stretch. But what is not meant to shape you will not be allowed to stay. Archangel Michael speaks gently to those who have blamed themselves for past outcomes. He says stop carrying responsibility for things that were never yours to fix. Some situations could not succeed because they were misaligned from the beginning. Your willingness could not override divine wisdom. Beloved soul, protection this year will sometimes look like delay, sometimes like discomfort, and sometimes like distance. Distance from people who drain you. Distance from patterns that weaken you. Distance from habits that dull your sensitivity. These separations are not punishments. They are pavilions. You may feel moments where your circle becomes smaller. Do not interpret this as isolation. It is concentration. Fewer voices allow clearer direction. Archangel Michael says what you need next requires focus, not noise. And I'll hear this carefully. Protection also requires your cooperation. When you feel a clear nudge to pause, honor it. When you sense a warning to step back, listen. Ignoring discernment does not remove protection, but it does make lessons louder. Wisdom saves you time. Beloved, this is where your engagement matters. If this message resonates, let it move beyond listening. Like this video as an act of agreement. Share it with someone who may not realize they are being protected even now. Leave a comment as a marker that you are present, aware, and receptive. And if you have not yet subscribed or joined this community, do so now, not out of obligation, but alignment. Staying connected keeps you grounded in clarity during sensitive seasons like this. Archangel Michael also reminds you that protection strengthens when truth is honored collectively. When you engage, you are not only affirming this message for yourself, but reinforcing it for others who need reassurance right now. Here is another layer unfolding. Protection will also show itself through exhaustion for things that no longer serve you. You may feel tired of explaining yourself, tired of proving your worth, tired of repeating cycles. This tiredness is not weakness. It is wisdom surfacing. This year, you will begin to value peace over permission, clarity over chaos, alignment over approval. Archangel Michael says when protection is active, your desires change. You stop craving what once distracted you. You may notice that drama no longer excites you. Conflict no longer pulls you in. This is growth. This is maturity. This is protection shaping your preferences. As this message settles, Do not rush ahead mentally. Stay with this moment, because what is coming next will uncover how your faith, not fear, will determine what you recognize when opportunities appear. Hold on. What is about to be revealed connects everything you have heard so far, and it will shift how you respond when the next door opens. Beloved one, Archangel Michael now brings your attention to the role faith will play as opportunities begin to surface. Not loud faith, not performative faith, but quiet trust expressed through response. This is important, because what is coming next in your life will not always look like what you expected. Some doors will appear ordinary. Some invitations will feel understated. And yet, they will carry weight far beyond their appearance. Archangel Michael says many people miss divine opportunities because they are waiting for something dramatic. A sign that shakes everything. A moment that feels undeniable. But this year, guidance will come through simplicity. A conversation that lingers in your mind. An idea that keeps returning gently. A nudge that does not leave you alone. These are not random. They are precise. Beloved, faith this year will not be proven by how strongly you believe, but by how accurately you respond. There will be moments when logic hesitates, but peace confirms. Learn to recognize peace as direction. Fear argues. Peace affirms. One demands urgency. The other invites confidence. You may notice that when an opportunity is aligned, your spirit feels calm even if your mind feels stretched. That calm is your confirmation. Archangel Michael says when heaven opens a door, it does not require panic to enter. It requires presence. There is also a warning wrapped in wisdom. Do not let fear disguise itself as practicality. Saying now is not the right time can sometimes be discernment, but other times, it is hesitation wearing wisdom's clothing. Learn to ask yourself honestly, am I being guided to wait, or am I afraid to move? The answer will be clear if you are willing to listen. Beloved soul, some opportunities will test your self-worth more than your skill. You may feel tempted to disqualify yourself before trying. Archangel Michael says this is where faith must speak louder than insecurity. You do not need to feel fully ready to be divinely positioned. Readiness grows through obedience. This year, you will be asked to step into rooms where you once felt unqualified. Do not shrink. Do not over-explain. Presence itself is proof that you belong. Archangel Michael reminds you that he does not escort the uninvited. If you are there, you were allowed. There will also be moments where faith requires restraint. Not every opportunity is meant to be accepted. Some offers are distractions dressed as blessings. Learn to ask not only, is this good, but is this aligned? Good things can still pull you off course if they arrive at the wrong time. Beloved, faith is not blind agreement. It is informed trust. You are not being asked to abandon wisdom. You are being asked to integrate it with discernment. This balance will protect you from regret. Archangel Michael also reveals that faith will be tested through timing. Some opportunities will require quick response. Others will require patience. Responding too slowly can miss alignment. Responding too quickly can bypass preparation. This is why staying spiritually attentive matters now more than ever. You may feel a stronger pull toward prayer, reflection, or quiet moments lately. This is not withdrawal. It is calibration. Faith sharpens in stillness. Your action clarifies in silence. Beloved one, do not underestimate small steps of obedience. Sending one message, making one adjustment, saying yes once. These acts compound. Faith grows through movement, not contemplation alone. There is a promise here. When you choose faith over fear consistently, confidence replaces anxiety. Not arrogance, not pressure, but steady assurance. Archangel Michael says confidence is the fruit of alignment. As this season unfolds, you will begin to recognize a pattern. The more you trust guidance, the clearer it becomes. The more you hesitate, the louder lessons get. Learn gently, not forcefully. Beloved, your faith is not being measured against someone else's journey. It is being shaped uniquely for yours. Stop comparing your response to others. Comparison clouds clarity. As this message comes to rest, hold this truth close. Opportunities are not meant to overwhelm you. They are meant to reveal you. Faith will not push you beyond your capacity. It will expand it. Stay present. What comes next will uncover how consistency, not intensity, will secure what is being built in your life now. Beloved child, Archangel Michael now reveals the quiet power that will determine whether what you begin this year will endure. Consistency, not intensity, not sudden bursts of motivation, but steady, faithful alignment repeated over time. This is where many fall away, not because they lack faith, but because they underestimate the power of small, faithful continuation. You see, intensity can impress people, but consistency shapes destiny. Anyone can feel inspired for a moment. Anyone can start strong. But what you repeat when no one is watching it will build spiritual weight. Archangel Michael says heaven responds more to what you sustain than to what you start. This year, progress will not always feel dramatic. Some days will feel ordinary. Some efforts will seem unnoticed. Some prayers will feel quiet rather than explosive. Do not misinterpret this as stagnation. Growth is often silent while it is most active. Roots grow underground before fruit appears above. Beloved, there is a danger Archangel Michael wants you to avoid, waiting for feelings to validate obedience. Feelings fluctuate. Alignment does not. If you only move when you feel inspired, you will move inconsistently. But when you move because you are aligned, inspiration eventually follows your obedience. There will be moments where repetition feels boring, where discipline feels dull, where doing the right thing feels unrewarded. These moments are not tests of ability, they are tests of commitment. Archangel Michael says what you consistently honor will eventually honor you. Some of you are being healed right now from a pattern of starting and stopping. Excitement followed by exhaustion. Hope followed by disappointment. This cycle ends as you learn to pace yourself. You are not required to do everything at once. You are required to keep going. Beloved soul, consistency also applies to how you think, how you speak, and how you treat yourself. One day of positive words cannot undo years of negative self-talk, but repeated alignment can. This is why patience with yourself matters. Transformation is layered. Archangel Michael now speaks to those who feel they have fallen behind because they did not move fast enough. He says speed was never the requirement. Stability would. What lasts must be built slowly enough to withstand pressure. This year, you will notice that some people move quickly and burn out. Others move quietly and last. Do not envy speed. Endurance wins in the long run. Heaven builds for permanence, not applause. Beloved, consistency will also protect you from distraction. When you are clear about your rhythm, interruptions lose their power. You stop reacting to every opinion. You stop chasing every opportunity. You begin to value depth over noise. There is a sacred rhythm being established in your life right now. Pay attention to what feels sustainable. That rhythm is guidance. Archangel Michael says alignment often feels calm, not rushed. You may be tempted to quit something simply because results are not visible yet. Do not confuse invisibility with ineffectiveness. Seeds do not announce their growth. They simply grow. Beloved child, hear this promise. If you remain consistent, clarity will compound. Peace will deepen. Confidence will settle in. You will look back and realize that what felt small was shaping something unshakable. Archangel Michael also warns against harsh self-judgment when you stumble. Consistency is not perfection. Missing a step does not cancel the journey. Simply return. Correction is more powerful than condemnation. As this message reaches its turning point, let this truth settle deeply. You do not need to do more. You need to remain aligned longer. Type "I stay steady" in the comments if this message confirms what your spirit already knows. Blessing code 818 has now been released over your consistency and endurance. And now, receive this as a natural continuation of what you just heard. Consistency is not only personal, it is collective. This mission continues because faithful people choose to show up again and again, not for attention, but for impact. I am speaking to you directly now, because your steadiness carries weight beyond what you see. Scripture declares that those who sow faithfully will reap in due season, if they do not grow weary. When you support this work, you are not funding content. You are sustaining a flow of light that reaches souls in their quiet moments of need. This act of giving is not ordinary. It is prophetic. It is a seed placed into fertile ground at the exact right time. As this year unfolds and intentions solidify, your obedience becomes the spiritual anchor for others. Support now through Super Thanks, by joining the membership, or through PayPal. The link is waiting for you in the description. Do it with confidence, not hesitation. I speak blessing over every giver, that your consistency will unlock favor, your faithfulness will invite protection, and your generosity will return multiplied. Step into this moment and activate it now. Beloved one, Archangel Michael now brings your awareness to a shift that will begin quietly but carry lasting impact. The shift of identity. Not the identity you show the world, but the one you hold privately when no one is watching. This is where real transformation takes place. This year, what changes inside you will matter more than what changes around you. You may already feel it. A subtle detachment from old labels. A soft resistance to roles you once accepted without question. Archangel Michael says this is not confusion. It is clarity emerging. When identity begins to realign, the old definitions no longer fit, even if they once felt comfortable. Beloved, identity shifts often feel uncomfortable before they feel empowering. You may catch yourself thinking, I am not who I used to be, but I am not fully sure who I am becoming. That space in between is sacred. Do not rush to fill it with assumptions. Let it shape naturally. This year, you will stop introducing yourself internally by your past. Past failures, past delays, past mistakes. Archangel Michael says heaven never addresses you by what you survived. It addresses you by what you are becoming. There will be moments when people respond to you based on an old version of you. They may expect the same reactions, the same availability, the same tolerance. When you do not meet those expectations, do not feel guilty. Growth disrupts familiarity. Beloved soul, this is where boundaries become expressions of identity, not defenses. You are not protecting yourself from people. You are protecting the version of you that is still forming. Archangel Michael says immature identities need validation. Mature identities need alignment. This shift will also change how you handle conflict. You will feel less need to prove yourself, less desire to explain. Silence will feel stronger than argument. This is not avoidance, it is security. You may notice that your interests are changing. What once excited you now feels hollow. What once bored you now feels meaningful. This is not random. Identity influences appetite. As you change, so do your desires. Beloved, there is also grief in identity shifts. You may mourn versions of yourself that carried you through difficult seasons. Honor them. They served you well, but do not cling to them. Gratitude allows release without regret. Archangel Michael also reveals that identity alignment will bring confidence without arrogance. You will feel more grounded, less reactive, more certain, less defensive. This is the fruit of consistency, timing, and faith working together. This year, you will stop chasing belonging and start embodying it. When you know who you are, you stop asking for permission to exist fully. Archangel Michael says belonging is not found, it is claimed. Beloved soul, identity alignment also affects what you tolerate. You will no longer entertain conversations that dishonor your direction. You will no longer invest in dynamics that drain your clarity. This is not pride, it is stewardship. There may be moments where loneliness tries to whisper that you are losing people. In truth, you are losing masks. Real connection will follow authenticity. It always does. Archangel Michael wants you to know this. The identity forming now is resilient. It has been tested quietly through disappointment, waiting, and restraint. That is why it will not crumble under pressure. You may soon be trusted with responsibility you once feared. Not because you became stronger overnight, but because you became stable. Stability invites trust. As this message settles, breathe. You do not need to announce who you are becoming. Live it. Those who need to know will recognize it. Stay present. What comes next will reveal how your choices, not your circumstances, will determine what unfolds as the year continues. Beloved child, Archangel Michael now brings everything you have heard into a single point of power, your choices. Not the dramatic ones you prepare speeches for, but the quiet decisions you make daily. The ones no one applauds. The ones that feel ordinary. This year will not be shaped by one defining moment. It will be shaped by repeated, intentional choices made when no one is watching. Hear this clearly. Circumstances may present options, but choices determine direction. Archangel Michael says heaven respects free will deeply. Guidance is offered, protection is provided, timing is arranged, but choice remains yours. This is not pressure. It is honor. You are trusted with more than you realize. There will be moments this year where two paths look similar on the surface. One will appeal to comfort. The other will align with growth. Comfort is not evil, but it is temporary. Growth is not easy, but it is lasting. Archangel Michael says learn to ask yourself one question before deciding. Does this strengthen who I am becoming, or does it preserve who I used to be? Beloved, some choices will feel heavy at first. Saying no when you could say yes. Walking away when you could stay. Speaking truth when silence feels safer. These moments shape character, and character determines capacity. What you are able to hold later depends on what you choose now. You may feel tempted to delay decisions, hoping clarity will come with time. Sometimes it does, but sometimes clarity comes after movement, not before it. Archangel Michael says obedience often unlocks understanding. Do not wait to feel certain about everything. Move with the certainty you already have. This year, hesitation will cost more than mistakes. Mistakes can be corrected. Hesitation can stagnate. This does not mean acting recklessly. It means responding honestly. When peace confirms a direction, honor it. Beloved soul, your choices will also redefine your relationship with fear. Fear will not disappear, but it will lose authority. You will begin to recognize fear as information, not instruction. Archangel Michael says fear asks, what if this fails? Faith asks, what if this grows me? There will be days where choosing alignment feels lonely. Not everyone will understand your decisions. Not everyone will agree with your boundaries. That does not mean you are wrong. It means you are no longer living by consensus. You are living by conviction. Archangel Michael reminds you that consistency, identity, and timing converge through choice. Every aligned choice reinforces clarity. Every misaligned choice creates noise. Learn to value peace as confirmation. Chaos rarely accompanies divine direction. Beloved, this is also where accountability matters. If this message has been guiding you, engage with it actively. Like this message as a sign that you are choosing awareness. Share it with someone who may be standing at their own decision point right now. Leave a comment, not just to interact, but to mark that you are present and intentional. And if you have not subscribed or joined this community yet, do so now. Staying connected keeps your focus sharp when choices require discernment. This is not about numbers. It is about alignment. Archangel Michael also urges you to stay with this message through its completion. What remains will connect your daily choices to long-term outcomes in a way that may surprise you. Hold on. This is where understanding deepens. Beloved child, do not underestimate the spiritual weight of small, repeated decisions. Choosing rest over burnout. Choosing honesty over avoidance. Choosing patience over control. These choices compound quietly until suddenly, life looks different. This year, you will begin to notice that your confidence grows as your choices align. Doubt fades when decisions match identity. Regret decreases when actions match values. This is freedom, not the absence of responsibility, but the presence of clarity. Archangel Michael says this plainly. You are not being rushed. You are being invited. Invited to live deliberately. Invited to choose with awareness. Invited to trust that heaven supports alignment. As this part closes, let this settle. You are not at the mercy of circumstances. You are participating in direction. What you choose next matters, but not because of pressure, because of potential. Stay attentive. What comes next will reveal how completion, not perfection, will seal what has been forming since the beginning of this year. Beloved one, Archangel Michael now brings you to a sacred understanding that many overlook. Completion. Not perfection, not flawlessness, not having every answer, but completion. This is the quiet power that seals what hath been forming since the beginning of this year. Completion is not about doing everything right. It is about finishing what alignment has already begun. You may have been conditioned to believe that only perfect things deserve to be completed. That if something did not start well, it is not worth finishing. That if you stumbled along the way, the outcome is already compromised. Archangel Michael corrects this gently. Heaven does not require perfection to bring fulfillment. It requires faithfulness to the process. Beloved, many blessings remain delayed not because people quit intentionally, but because they drift away quietly. They lose focus. They get distracted. They start questioning what once felt clear. Completion requires returning to what you already knew, even when emotions fluctuate. This year, You will be invited to finish things you once abandoned. Conversations left unresolved. Disciplines started but not sustained. Decisions postponed indefinitely. Archangel Michael says completion restores authority. When you finish what you start, confidence rebuilds naturally. There is something deeply spiritual about completion. It sends a signal to heaven that you can be trusted with continuity. Many want new assignments, but have not completed old ones. New doors often wait behind finished obedience. Beloved soul, completion does not always feel exciting. Sometimes it feels tedious. Sometimes it feels repetitive. Sometimes it feels unnecessary. But this is where maturity speaks louder than emotion. Archangel Michael says endurance is evidence of growth. You may notice an inner prompting to revisit something you thought was over. Do not dismiss it too quickly. Some things return not to reopen wounds, but to close cycles properly. Closure brings peace. Peace creates space. There is also grace here. Completion does not mean forcing what is dead. Discernment is required. Some things are meant to end, not be revived. Completion can also mean releasing fully, without resentment or regret. Ending well is also completion. Beloved, the intention that began forming at the start of the year is nearing stabilization. It does not need constant adjustment now. It needs consistency and follow-through. Trust that what had been built quietly is strong enough to stand. Archangel Michael also reveals that completion strengthens discernment. When you complete one season well, you enter the next with clarity instead of confusion. You stop carrying unfinished emotional weight. You move lighter. You may feel a renewed sense of resolve lately, a quiet determination. This is not pressure. It is readiness. Readiness to stop circling the same lessons. Readiness to move forward without dragging the past behind you. Beloved one, completion also affects how others perceive you. Not because you seek approval, but because integrity is visible. When your actions align with your intentions, trust follows. Doors open naturally for those who finish well. There may be moments ahead where you are tempted to abandon something simply because progress feels slow. Remember this: speed is not the measure of success. Completion is. Finishing steadily often outlasts starting passionately. Archangel Michael reminds you that heaven is patient. But patience does not cancel responsibility. You are supported, guided, and protected, but you are also invited to participate fully. Completion is your partnership with grace. This year, you will experience the quiet satisfaction of seeing things come full circle. Not everything at once. Not dramatically, but steadily. You will look back and realize that what once felt unfinished is now resolved. Beloved soul, do not rush the end of this process. Allow it to seal naturally. What is completed in peace carries blessing forward. What is rushed carries residue. As this message settles, reflect gently. What has been asking for your follow-through? What hath been waiting patiently for your consistency? The answer is not heavy. It is honest. Stay present. What comes next is the final sealing, the blessing, the release, and the confirmation of everything that has been unfolding. My beloved child, Archangel Michael now stands at the threshold of completion with you, not as an ending filled with loss, but as a sealing filled with authority. What began quietly at the start of this year has now reached recognition in the unseen. This is the moment where intention becomes confirmation, where alignment becomes inheritance, where what was forming internally is now acknowledged spiritually. Hear this with clarity. You are not the same person who began listening to this message. Something has settled inside you, a calm knowing, a steadiness that does not need to prove itself. Archangel Michael says this is the mark of integration, when truth no longer excites you briefly, but anchors you permanently. This final movement is not about striving forward. It is about standing firmly, standing in what you have learned, standing in what you have released, standing in what you have chosen. Heaven does not rush sealing moments. They require stillness, not effort. Beloved, the months ahead will unfold differently now, not because circumstances magically change overnight, but because you will respond differently. You will pause where you once reacted. You will choose where you once hesitated. You will trust where you once doubted. This is how destiny moves, through response, not force. Archangel Michael reveals that what hath been established in you cannot be easily shaken. Delays will no longer destabilize you. Opinions will no longer derail you. Uncertainty will no longer silence you. You have learned how to remain aligned even when outcomes are still unfolding. This is the blessing of discernment. You no longer need everything to make sense to move with peace. You no longer need external validation to honor internal truth. You no longer confuse noise with direction. Beloved soul, there will be moments ahead where others notice the change before you do. They will sense your calm, your clarity, your restraint. Do not explain it. Let it speak for itself. Truth does not argue for its existence. Archangel Michael now releases a final assurance. What is meant for you this year will recognize you. You do not need to chase it. Alignment attracts. Readiness sustains. Protection surrounds. This does not mean challenges will disappear. It means challenges will no longer define you. You will move through them with authority instead of anxiety, with wisdom instead of reaction. Beloved, take a moment now. Breathe. Acknowledge how far you have come, not just in action, but in awareness. Awareness is the gateway to stewardship, and you have stepped through it. Type "I receive" the sealing in the comments if this message has anchored something deep within you. Blessing code 1212 has now been released over your life. What you have just experienced is not entertainment. It is transmission. It is light carried through sound, reaching hearts at appointed moments. I am speaking to you personally now, because your presence here was not passive. It was prophetic. Scripture declares that those who strengthen the work of the Lord become partakers in its reward. When you support this mission, you are not giving to a channel. You are helping heaven reach homes, minds, and hearts that may never hear this truth any other way. This is your moment of response. Not later. Not someday. Now. Your giving is a seed released in obedience, not pressure. It is fire added to the altar, oil poured into the lamp. As this year continues to unfold, your support becomes a spiritual action that echoes beyond what you see. Support through super thanks. Step into deeper alignment by joining the membership, or release your seed through PayPal. The link is waiting in the description. Do it with authority, not hesitation. I speak blessing over every giver now, that what you release returns multiplied in clarity, protection, provision, and divine favor. Obey this nudge. Seal it now.